chapter 18. A better covenant, when unconditional became reality. As previously mentioned, the Old Covenant was never meant to rule forever. Look what God says about the Old Covenant here in Jeremiah 31, verses 31 to 34. Behold, the days are coming, says the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, my covenant which they broke, though I was a husband to them, says the Lord. But this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says the Lord. I will put my law in their minds, and write it on their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No more shall every man teach his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, says the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity, and their sin I will remember no more. Here God says that He is going to one day give us a new covenant. He says that it will not be like the one He made when He delivered His people from Egypt. The covenant He is talking about is the law He gave Moses right after they escaped Egypt. According to this passage, the new covenant would be written on our hearts and minds. This sounds very much like the way Paul describes the Old and New Covenants in 2 Corinthians 3 that we just read. Look at verse 34. It says that when the new covenant comes, it will no longer be necessary to teach your neighbor or brother to know the Lord. When the new covenant He is describing comes, all will know Him, because all will be included in the forgiveness of their sins. On a side note, time to grow up. We are often ridiculed for saying that the law has been made obsolete. But why is that such a terrible thing? Do we really need God breathing down our necks with rules in order to do what is right? Think about it. Do you believe that tossing out the rule book will suddenly cause people to start murdering? People murder every day, even though they already know the 10 Commandments forbid it. Rules alone never stop sin. I once had this discussion with a longtime preacher friend. He challenged me. So, you're telling me that God wouldn't be angry if I had shelves full of pornography instead of religious books? I asked him, if you knew God would not be angry, what kinds of books would you choose to keep on your shelves? That's the point. By removing the law as our master, God has placed the responsibility back in our hands. Will we choose what is right because it is right, or do we only behave when we are afraid of punishment? It's time to grow up. Now, back to the main text. When I first read this passage to the pastor of the church I was attending when I first began this journey, he told me that this particular covenant had not been fulfilled yet. He said this because of the wording found in this verse, Revelations 21, verse 3. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and He will dwell with them, and they shall be His people. God Himself will be with them and be their God. He was right. This passage in Revelations does match the wording found in Jeremiah 31, verse 33, that we just read. The problem he was having is that he believed Revelations to be a future event, and because of its obvious parallelism with Jeremiah 31, verse 33, this could not have already happened. He then cornered me and asked if I really believed that this had been accomplished. I told him that, at that point in my study, I couldn't be certain, but that the writer of Hebrews seemed to think that it had been. Check this out here in Hebrews 8, verses 1 to 13. Now this is the main point of the things we are saying. We have such a high priest, who is seated at the right hand of the throne of the majesty in the heavens, a minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle which the Lord erected, and not man. For every high priest is appointed to offer both gifts and sacrifices. Therefore it is necessary that this one also have something to offer. For if he were on earth, he would not be a priest, since there are priests who offer the gifts according to the law, who serve the copy and shadow of the heavenly things, as Moses was divinely instructed when he was about to make the tabernacle. For he said, "See that you make all things according to the pattern shown you on the mountain." But now he has obtained a more excellent ministry, inasmuch as he is also mediator of a better covenant, which was established on better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then no place would have been sought for a second. Because finding fault with them, he says, "Behold, the days are coming, says the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they did not continue in my covenant, and I disregarded them, says the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says the Lord. I will put my laws in their mind and write them on their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. None of them shall teach his neighbor, and none his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their lawless deeds I will remember no more. In that he says, a new covenant he has made the first obsolete. Now what is becoming obsolete and growing old is ready to vanish away. The writer describes the old covenant as faulty, and then quotes Jeremiah 31, verses 31 to 34, saying that this is the new covenant that was made for us when Jesus died and rose again. He then says that the old covenant is obsolete and ready to vanish away. So yes, Jeremiah 31, verses 31 to 34, has been fulfilled by the death and resurrection of Jesus some 2,000 years ago, which, just as my former pastor said, sounds a lot like the wording found in Revelation 21, verse 3, which means that has been fulfilled also. No more shall every man teach his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, says the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity, and their sin I will remember no more. As a close friend of mine pointed out the other day, there are no stipulations found in this passage. It doesn't say, if you believe, or if you try hard, or anything. It simply states that when the new covenant comes, it will be for everyone and include everyone. This is absolutely revolutionary. If the new covenant has already been established and includes everyone without conditions, then every promise of God has been fulfilled. But this raises the ultimate question. Is there really nothing left for God to accomplish? In our next chapter, we'll explore the profound meaning of Jesus' final words, "It is finished," and discover what this means for every biblical prophecy and promise.